Hello and thank you so much for joining me today on Soup of Pants Gaming for this, our second episode of ColleXbox. So today I'm just going to fire through a few games, a couple of which you may have seen because they were in my CEX £10 challenges, before we get on to what I'm sure you're waiting to see, which is what rubbish I've bought on eBay recently. So yes, starting it off from CEX £10 challenge which I did in Grantham, which was the one before last now actually. It's been a while since the first ColleXbox episode, you see. We've got Project Gotham Racing, the first one, which cost £1. Mad pleased when I can actually get some of these games in the £10 challenges. Yeah, it's just really good. Kind of kills two birds with one stone sort of thing. So yes, so that's £1. That's going to be added into ColleXbox. And then next up, from the same CEX £10 challenge, we also have a copy of Blinks, which is a game I'm really pleased to get because I already own the second in the series, basically, and I've been waiting to play it, but I wanted to play the original first. So yes, I'll just show you again in case you've not seen. It's lovely and complete. So yes, we will be adding Blinks into ColleXbox. And then in between the CX challenges, I had a rather fortunate charity shop find. It's another one of those cases where it's always best to ask. So there were no games out on the shelves in the charity shop that I was having a look in. And there were a couple of ladies in the back room. And I just went and said, hi, I don't suppose you've got any video games hiding out here, have you, sort of thing. And one of the ladies looked at the other and said, oh, should I be naughty? And I stood at the door and I was like, yes, please be naughty. And she said, go on, come in, have a look. She said, there's a little stack in the corner. And I had a look and there was actually quite a decent stack, but a lot of them were sort of lower title sort of thing. Nothing particularly expensive. And there was one in there for ColleXbox, and that is Jade Empire. Now, I must confess the disc on this is a little bit rough. I don't quite know yet what sort of leniency I've got with sort of scratches on the Xbox games. But so far it's played everything that I've been sort of throwing at it, and this one is a little bit scratched up. But I said to my sensible adult, because she was with me at the time, I said, a worst case scenario, this is a nice complete copy, and you know the sleeve's in really nice condition as well. I said, for the sake of £1, it's probably worth picking it up, even if it's sort of just the case of manual if the disc isn't any good. I've popped the disc in, the disc plays fine, but I've not properly played it, I've just sort of ran it and sort of tested it works sort of thing. So yes, fingers crossed. It looks like a really good game as well, so I'm actually really looking forward to playing that when I get a little bit more time. So I think time is going to be something that's going to be massively critical this year with the amount of stuff I'm trying to do, but you know. So yes, Jade Empire, a nice sort of fluky find in a charity shop for £1, ticked off of ColleXbox. And as you can see behind me, the shelf is actually growing in real time sort of thing as we're putting the games in, which is awesome. And it's not going to be too long until we're on the second shelf, which is kind of cool. So yes, next up I've got a game which was quite a recent pickup, to be totally honest, and that was Mech Assault 2 Lone Wolf. That was in my recent CEX £10 challenge at Coventry Arena. So yeah, mad pleased to have got that. And on the same trip, I also picked up a game that isn't part of ColleXbox, so I don't get a ticket off, but it still gets added into the collection, and that is Tomb Raider Legend. So we're going to pop those in now, and then I will see you at my unbagging table, where we will get into these and have a little look what I've been buying on eBay. So it's been a while, but we're here at my unbagging table, and as you can see, I've got the 2 parcels from eBay. And this should result in 2 complete games that we can then tick off ColleXbox. So let's get into it. I'm going to start with the white one first. Yep, so let's see what we've got. And we have, oh, that's looking good. You can see what that is. That is Death Row on the original Xbox. So that doesn't look too shabby, to be honest. So yeah, have a little look. You are kidding me, right? No, I'm actually trolling you people. Sorry about that. Yes, this is actually just the case in the instructions for Death Row. And there's a little story behind that, which we'll get into in a little while. So there we go, that looks pretty good, to be honest. So yeah, could do with a little bit of a wipe, but yeah, that's really good. So that is the case and instructions for Death Row. So I think you can probably see what's going to be coming in the next package now. So this here, in theory, contains the disc for Death Row. Resort to scissors. That's stretchy plastic. And I've got scissors that don't work. Amazing. Here we go. We'll get it out. Eventually. I can always speed this up. Okay, and in here, first things first, we have the disc for Death Row. So that's cool. I'm just going to have a little look and see how it looks. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. So, yep. So I'm just going to pop him there. That's awesome. So technically we now have a complete copy of Death Row, and the other game is Spy Hunter 2, which should have the disc in. That's nice, and it has got the disc in. Have a little look at that as well. Oh yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's really clean, that disc. So yeah, there you go. So we have Spy Hunter 2, and in a roundabout way, we have completed a copy of Death Row. Yes, so there we are, massively pleased with that. And that's Death Row and Spy Hunter 2. So did I get you with the unboxing there? Did you think he's been done? So yeah. And this all came about a little bit weird on eBay, to be totally honest. So I think it was just before Christmas, a guy listed a load of Xbox games on eBay, and he put the games up with like sort of buy it now or best offer, and he had a copy of Death Row and it looked really nice. So he had the best offer thing, and me being cheap, I put a best offer bid type thing in for it, sort of thing. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, I'll go with that, and hopefully he'll sort of meet me in the middle. And he did. However, I had a friend come over that evening, and I can't be checking eBay every sort of 10 minutes when I'm entertaining, if you like. And he counter offered my offer with exactly what I was hoping he would do, basically. And I got to that email about 3 hours after he sent it, and I was like, yes, that's what I wanted. I clicked on it, and someone else had already bought the game. And I was like, no. So I went back on and looked up Death Row on the Xbox, and I found that someone had listed a disc-only copy at the bottom of one of those big multi-listings. And I was like, oh, now if I can get a case and a manual, that might be worth doing, because he'd listed it up, I think it was $6.95 plus postage. And you know, Death Row is normally about sort of 20 quid. And I looked, and there was a case and manual that I'd seen earlier for about $5. And I was like, oh, and I thought that looks like that might be a nice cheap copy of Death Row if it comes together. So I took the risk and I bought the disc-only version. And I looked what else he had, because it combined postage, and the extra postage was only 50 pence for another game. And one of the other games that I don't see around very much was Spy Hunter 2. And yeah, so it kind of made sense. These two games together complete cost me a total of about £19. Which that includes all the postage and everything. Whenever I tell you guys prices, it always includes the postage, because you know that is part of the price. Yeah. So that is a really lovely complete copy of Death Row, and I am sure that I would have put a bit of footage up there, because the first thing I've done when this has turned up, I've played this. I love this game. This is awesome. This is a me sort of game. It reminds me a bit of Speedball, but you kind of kick the bejesus out of the enemy a hell of a lot more than in Speedball sort of thing. It's kind of a cross between sort of, I don't know, sort of Streets of Rage and Speedball, I guess. But yeah, I love this. This was a solid pickup, and I'm mad pleased that I got myself a copy of it. So yeah, so let's tick off Death Row from ColleXbox. And this Spy Hunter 2 is sort of surprisingly kind of uncommon in a way. So I never see copies of this around, but I mean, you know, I'm sure there are copies out there, but it just seemed like a really good game to get with the Death Row disc. So, because if I'd have bought this from CEX, this would have cost me £3 plus more or less another £3 postage. With, I think this was £4.45, but it was only costing me an extra 50p postage. So it kind of made sense, because the chances of me bumping into one of these in CEX around my way, relatively slim. So mad pleased to have that. Haven't played it yet, got no idea what it's about, or, well, I know what it's about, but I mean, I've got no idea if it's any good. So fingers crossed. Yeah, so let's tick off Spy Hunter 2 from ColleXbox. Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago I saw a friend, and I've had a friend recommend to me an Xbox game that they played like sort of back in the day. They thought it was really good. They said they weren't sure how well it would have held up, but that game's Brute Force. Now, I've never played of it. I've seen it, and I know it's not a particularly expensive game, so I looked it up on CEX. It's 50p, and they reckon it's a really sort of decent sort of squad fighter or something, and they said something to do with it being part of some of the guys that sort of made Halo. They had something to do with it or something. I've not really looked it up. I kind of like going into sort of games blind, to be honest, so I'm going to add Brute Force to ColleXbox because it's a really cheap and easy one to pick up. So it doesn't hurt to grab a copy, see what it's like. If it's rubbish, it can be set on fire in the back garden. So no, it can go to charity, you know what I mean. But yes, so there we are. As you can see, the shelf is growing quite nicely now. We'll soon be on to the second shelf. It's nice to not be worried about space. I'm sure some of you guys can appreciate that. So yeah. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me on this second episode of ColleXbox. I've been Soup. Remember, you guys are awesome. Please like and sub and hit all the nice buttons below for me, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.